Manchester United will be less social media focused when it comes to deals, which is 100% what they need. I'm sorry, I'm fed up of Wan-Bissaka being linked for 8 weeks, we buy him. Maguire being linked for 8 weeks, we buy him. You know, I would just love it for me to be sitting here this time next week and gone, yeah, guys, by the way, we just signed Timber, or yeah, we just signed Nkunku, or yeah, we just signed LEAING. And I'd be like, we're linked a week ago, we're barely linked to them. Now, I think there has been reports coming out, and I think it was from Tom McDermott, that ERIK Ten Hag's first transfer will be done within the next week. It's very possible. And, you know, we know that, you know, Timber's representatives have been in England. We do know that. You know, we haven't had Ornstein or Romano really say much on Timber other than that there's an interest. But could this, A, just be someone spread up bullshit lies that we've had advanced talks with Timber and actually it's false news? Or B, could it be that United have held talks with Timber? We actually know we've held talks with Timber. Timber's agents are in England, and that maybe a Timber deal could be done next week, but we won't know about it until last minute from Romano and Ornstein, because maybe United are trying to keep it quiet for the journalists. Maybe United are trying to do things, you know, a little bit less social media wise. We'll have to wait and see. I think Timber is the most likely transfer and all of that. Let's take a quick sip there. A source of CBS says that United set to make a move for Jonathan David. I'm sure he's a player of interest, but I couldn't tell if we're set to make a move for Jonathan David, if I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys as well. Look, I think Darwin Nunez, keep an eye out for. Darwin Nunez, it's confirmed by Fabrizio Romano today, will leave Benfica. Fabrizio Romano's exact words were Darwin Nunez has made a decision. Darwin Nunez is 100% going to leave. I'm told that he's very tempted by the Premier League and that he would love it. And then Manchester United discussed his name internally many times at the club, and Nunez is short on the list of United. Now, there was a report that came out last week saying that Darwin Nunez had snubbed Newcastle and Man United. That report was proved to be false because Darwin Nunez wants the Premier League. Manchester United are interested, Newcastle interested. I think I think Arsenal have their sights on Jesus. Romano's confirmed that Nunez is on our list. Nunez is 100% leaving Barcelona, confirmed by Fabrizio Romano. We've been linked to Darwin Nunez a lot. Now, I've heard stories that basically United want to get Timber and a midfielder signed before they get a striker. I think United, if they're going to sign Darwin Nunez, they'll either sign him next week out of just shock factor because he's now 100% leaving Barcelona, so he could be on the move soon, or it could be a transfer that you see towards the end of the window because Ten Hag's priority is 2 midfielders, a defender, and then a striker. And reports are suggesting that Ten Hag wants to get 2 midfielders and a defender in first, and then put the remaining budget on a striker and a fullback. And that's what Ten Hag wants to do in the summer. However, if Nunez has been confirmed that he's leaving already, maybe he leaves now. Maybe do they need to get rid of him now? It's an interesting one because I actually, and people might disagree with this, I'm not the biggest fan of Darwin Nunez. I don't think he's that good. Now, the good thing about me is when we sign a player and I think the player we sign is going to flop, they normally don't flop, which is the only positive. So me saying Darwin Nunez I think could flop, hopefully he'll prove me wrong. But I've never been the biggest admirer of Darwin Nunez. But the striker market is it's not good, the striker market at the moment. It's ridiculously overpriced. Look, I'd like Harry Kane, way too much money. I'd like Victor Osimhen, way too much money. It's Tammy Abraham, but he will be again. That Roma will put him up for like 80 million because he's English. You know, there's a lot of overpriced players in there, and Darwin Nunez for 50 million in terms of value for money is one of the better deals you can do. I actually think Gabriel Jesus to Arsenal for 40 odd million actually is a really good deal, but definitely keep an eye on that. Romano has confirmed he will leave 100% Benfica, and I think we know that, and United is very likely. I've just got a super chat here. One sec, let me go and read out the super chat. I've missed the super chat. Thank you very much to Jadon Sancho for becoming a member. Big up, Sancho. And the board is still backing Ten Hag. Is still not backing Ten Hag. He wanted Pau Torres, the Spanish Linda Soft, on him. Honestly, there is a story about Pau Torres to Manchester United. From what I'm aware, now the Pau Torres story is coming out of Spain. United have always liked Pau Torres. United have always admired Pau Torres. But the problem with Pau Torres is he will be £50 million. And United don't want to spend £50 million on another defender. From what I've been told, it seems that it is midfielders a priority. And then Pau Torres and Jurrien Timber and Jules Koundé, they're all centre-backs of interest, but it could just come down to price. You know, if Timber is cheaper than Torres, which he will be, it will come down to price. Ten Hag does like Pau Torres, reportedly. He is on the list. But I think the Pau Torres room is a little bit of Spanish journalists trying to get clicks and all that. I think Jurrien Timber is way more likely. Now, obviously, the news that come out about Jurrien Timber hasn't come out from an Ornstein or Romano. The news that's come out about Jurrien Timber's come out from MUFC, MPB, exclusive outlets, no one that has tier 1 credibility. But I think Jurrien Timber, the way Ten Hag spoke about him, I think he's the more likely of the centre-backs. Pau Torres definitely an option, but I think Jurrien Timber, Darwin Nunez, Frenkie de Jong, and we will get into de Jong, maybe someone like a LEAING. I think they're the players we want to keep an eye out on. If we do get more updates on Pau Torres, I will let you guys know. But it's no one ridiculously credible on Pau Torres. It's a little bit of maybe it's stirring the pot to see if other teams will bid for him. But I don't know if United will spend ridiculous amounts of money on Pau Torres, if I'm going to be honest with you guys. Please do smash that like button if you have not already. And of course, subscribe down below if you're new. Timber and Torres seem to be two options. If Ajax want to keep Timber another year, we might move for Pau. Exactly. But what we do know about Timber is it's likely that Ajax will sell Timber. We're also looking at Martinez from Ajax as well. And we've obviously got a lot of centre-backs on our shortlist. Alex Siak is leaving Chelsea. He was mentioned in United, and Ten Hag wants some GC and coming to United. I think there's a slim chance. We haven't really been linked to Siak. I would like Siak at Man United. He's a right winger. We need a right winger. I know he hasn't been brilliant at Chelsea, but he's a very good creator. He's very good at breaking down the low block. Siak's a good player, but he's not made for Tuchel's system, and he was a Lampard signing, not a Tuchel signing. I reckon you could get Siak for about 30 million from Chelsea, and I would take him. I 100% would. Left-footed right forward. What does Ten Hag want? A left-footed right forward. Ten Hag's worked with him before. I'd 100% get Hakim Ziyech on the right, play Sancho on the left, Ronaldo up top, Bruno, De Jong, Donny, or Lema, or whoever we get in the midfield, and then a defence, Varane, Lindelof, Timber, Shaw, whatever the defence is. But I would like Ziyech, but I don't think it's possible. I really don't. I don't know. The thing about Chelsea is Chelsea do sell to United. They've given us Mata. They've given us Matic. I think that Ziyech would be. I actually think Ziyech would be a smart transfer, and people are going to call me crazy because look, he's not been brilliant at Chelsea. But Ziyech and Werner are two players I'd still take at United. I really, really would. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Chelsea are looking for defenders as well, but a lot of people say Ziyech was terrible, but Ziyech was just so good under ERIK Ten Hag, and United will not sign Bissouma due to his court case and why we're getting rid of Greenwood as well. Yeah, I think United is steering clear of Bissouma. What I want to talk about actually is midfielders. So it's been confirmed today Tchouaméni is going to Real Madrid. At least he's not going to Liverpool. Kamara has gone to Aston Villa, and Rice is going to Chelsea. So Tchouaméni, Kamara, and Rice. Well, Rice might not go to Chelsea this window, but Rice isn't coming to United. That's 3 CDMs gone. So what CDMs are left? Leymar's not really a CDM, but because we're playing a dual pivot, there's him. There's Cooper Miners. There's Neves. There's Bissouma. And, I'm a bit worried about the midfield because Neves isn't going to suit Ten Hag's style of play, and him and Bruno in the same midfield will be catastrophic. Bissouma in the court case. No Rice. No Kamara. No Tchouaméni. I look at that and I go, well, Lema, even though he's not a CDM, I guess maybe someone like Lema. And then I go maybe Cooper Miners again, the Dutch guy, because he'd be 30 million. But there's not really any CDMs that I'm like, we need to get them. There's obviously people spoke about Enzo Fernandez. I've never watched him play. Kessie's gone to Barcelona as well. Sakari, I don't think he was good enough, but he's gone to Juventus. There's very slim pickings for midfield at the moment. And obviously, Ragnick, it was reported in the leaks that Ragnick had actually gone to the board and said, why didn't you sign a CDM 2 summers ago? You spent 90 million on, United spent 90 million on Diallo, Palestri and Donny for none of them to be anywhere near the first team when they could have brought a CDM 2 summers ago when there was a lot more options. And obviously, Calvin Phillips is not going to come to United as well. And we're in a situation for the midfield where we need to be careful because if we miss out on Frenkie de Jong, and Frenkie de Jong, even if we just sign de Jong, that's not enough. We need to replace Matic. De Jong replaces Pogba. But if we miss out on Frenkie de Jong, we've still got to sign 2 midfielders. And you can't get Kamara, he's gone. You can't get Tchouaméni, he's gone. You won't be able to get Rice. Bissouma's not available. I don't think Neves will work. Calvin Phillips doesn't want us. The Bissouma situation, I think we're going to be in a difficult situation for midfield. And I am a little bit worried because I trust Ten Hag and I do have some faith that Murta will try and do his best. But I think, obviously there's Darwin Nunez, obviously there's Timber, players that United are hoping to snap up. But you need to make sure you get that midfielder because we're chucking all our eggs in one basket in the Frenkie de Jong situation. And he doesn't seem that keen on Man United. Now, I think it's basically confirmed de Jong will leave Barcelona. Look, Frenkie de Jong actually doesn't want to leave Barcelona. We know that Frenkie de Jong doesn't want to leave Barcelona. Someone asked me about Tielemans. I'm just going to pin that chat, so I'll get into that. We know Frenkie de Jong doesn't really want to leave Barcelona, but he's basically going to be forced out. Look, Frenkie de Jong was saying goodbyes. The way Frenkie de Jong played his last game for Barcelona, it did look like bye. He did remove Barcelona from his bio. It does look like Frenkie de Jong could leave Barcelona. But PSG are interested, Bayern Munich are interested, Manchester City are interested, and United are interested. And we're not in the Champions League while the other 3 clubs are. Now, PSG, not a proper league. I don't think de Jong will go there. But there's Bayern Munich, which I could see de Jong at. There's Man City, which I could see de Jong under Pep absolutely thriving because they're losing Gundogan, they're losing Fernandinho, they're getting money for Jesus, they're getting money for Sterling. That they could use that money to bring on someone like de Jong. You know, United need to be careful because while we have Ten Hag, you know, we don't have the best pull at the moment. You know, one thing we can offer de Jong is guaranteed game time because he will be competing with Fred for game time. So that is guaranteed game time. Another thing is he gets to work with Ten Hag. Another thing is he gets to be involved at a project. At the end of the day, we are the second. I think after Barcelona and Real Madrid, United are the 3rd biggest club. He'd come to the biggest club. He could play with like Ronaldo. You know, everyone else is shit, so I can't really say he can play with anyone else. But it's a difficult situation with de Jong because it's obviously being reported that de Jong is going to be forced out of Barcelona. Barcelona don't want to sell him. I think de Jong will leave Barcelona this summer. He will cost £68 million. United want him. United are more than capable of paying it. We will only get Frenkie de Jong if we can convince him to come. And Ten Hag's on the phone to de Jong. Ten Hag probably watched the Crystal Palace game, and de Jong probably had to get a restraining order on Ten Hag because Ten Hag probably called him up about 1 million times after watching that Crystal Palace game, begging him to come. So he's probably have to get a restraining order. They say that is the joke, by the way. Frenkie de Jong does not have a restraining order on Ten Hag before someone misunderstands that. But it's one that I'm worried about. I am worried about midfield, and I really hope we get it sorted. I really hope the reports that have come out that said United are going to be a lot quieter on social media in terms of transfers, how we're not going to be leaking all the transfers we're going to do on the internet. We're not going to be leaking it all on social media, that United actually could just go and sign a player out of nowhere like Villa did. Well, I'd like that to be the case. I'd like to wake up tomorrow morning and be like, LEAING, done deal, or de Jong, done deal. And we know that United's plan to get summer transfer business done, you know, before the beginning of July. We know Man United want to get 2 midfielders in, and we know that United are looking at de Jong. It's about, can we convince de Jong to come? And I'm a bit worried about the midfield, but I'm just hoping I wake up next week and the story that we're going to get Ten Hag's first player in next week. If I wake up one morning next week and it just says we've got a midfielder, because I'm a little bit worried about that. I've been asked about Tielemans. Tielemans has been linked to Arsenal. Tielemans has been linked to Manchester United. I would like Youri Tielemans at United, but I wouldn't want to pay more than 30 million for him because I actually think he's a little bit overrated as well. Fofana, again, I like Fofana, but I wouldn't pay ridiculous money. I'm a bit scared of buying players from Leicester. I would buy Ndidi from Leicester, even though he's dropped off. Can we not go out of Europe to look for a CDM? Yeah, we should be looking maybe out of Europe. Enzo Fernandez. A lot of people spoke about Paulinho for CDM. I don't know if he'd suit Ten Hag's style of play, but I think he's definitely an option out there. And this guy says he's a Barcelona fan and he thinks that de Jong will leave. I think de Jong will leave. Hedera CDM, possibly. Ragnick was interested in him, wasn't he? And Sancho says the only good DM we can get is Kimmich, and doubt he would leave Bayern, nor Bayern will sell him. There's not many DMs left in the market. And you're right, especially value for money as well. Lehmann and Donny could share the CDM role. Yeah, I think the good thing about Ten Hag is, and one of the positive things about ERIK Ten Hag is ERIK Ten Hag plays a 4-2-3-1 system, so he doesn't need quite need an out-and-out DM. I think, you know, if you're playing a 4-3-3, then you need a Fabinho, you need a Rodri, you need a Declan Rice. If you're playing a 4-3-3, you need an out-and-out DM. Because he's playing a 4-2-3-1, I just think you need 2 defensively solid midfielders. Now, McTominay and Fred are not defensively solid midfielders. They don't complement each other. But when you have Matic and Fred, it looks all right. When you have Fred and McTominay, it looks shite. And I think, you know, De Jong and Neymar, even though none of them are a CDM, I think they could complement each other a lot better than what we currently have. There's obviously James Garner coming back as well, but again, he's not a ready-made CDM. It's really a difficult one. I'm thinking Paulinho, Neymar, Cooper Miners, not all of them are ready-made CDMs, but maybe value for money. That's where you've got to look, because I don't think Neves will work. We can't get Rice, we can't get Phillips, we won't get Basuma. You know, Chouamene's gone, Kamara's gone. You know, everyone's sort of gone. That United do need to crack on and get a midfielder 100% as well. Ten Hag's a big pull factor. It is his football daddy. Well, I'm hoping that we can get De Jong and we can just use the Ten Hag power to get De Jong, because honestly, Frenkie de Jong would be brilliant. He'd absolutely transform this midfield. 2 for minus is not good enough, at least for now. He's probably not Man United level standard or Premier League winning standard, but he's better than McTominay and Fred. And the thing is, most midfielders out there are better than McTominay and Fred, because Fred's had a good season, but when we play in McFred, they look like bottom of the league kind of midfielders, Norwich, Brentford kind of level, don't they? To be fair, as well. Striker and DM we desperately need are the most complicated in the market this summer. Either take a big risk or overspend. And you're absolutely spot on. United have got to take a risk or they've got to overspend to get the right striker and CDM in. I think if I was in charge, I'd almost think something, because we've got Ronaldo for one more season, I would almost go with an Nkunku who will be more, who can play on the right, can play on the left, can play as a second striker, can play as a cam. I'd almost go with an Nkunku, and who we can play on the right when Ronaldo's up top, and then when we need to rest Ronaldo, we can play up top, and then wait next year and see if there's any more affordable strikers. I'd almost do that. Can we get a player that can play striker but can also play on the wing, that's quite versatile to rotate with Ronaldo? It was reported, because ERIK Ten Hag is aware that the striker market is very inflated, that ERIK Ten Hag, if he can't get a striker, would like a left-footed right winger. So that could be Anthony, that could be Hakim Ziyech. I think, what I'm aware of and what I've read is that basically United want to get a defender and 2 midfielders, and the remaining budget will go on a striker. And if they can't get the striker they want, they might go for a left-footed right winger or a left-footed right forward, and then maybe if there's any money left after that, go for a fullback. And I think fullback, centre back, 6 and a Pogba replacement and an attacker is what Man United want to do this summer. I've got lots of news and stories to get into, actually, guys. So do smash a like, and also if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe if you're new. Someone said I'm having nightmares about Maguire in our defence next season. I think that maybe Maguire will be better next season with some more discipline in defence as well. Apart from Nunez, who would be your realistic striker target? This might sound mad, but I take Gabriel Jesus from Man City. I know because he can play on the wing as well, or Osimhen, but again, I think Osimhen is going to be ridiculously overpriced. There's that one that we got linked to from Saint Etienne, but I'm not too familiar with him. Mike Phelan got sacked. We knew that one was coming. And Nkunku is another one with the fee being very uncertain. It's not clear if he wants to leave exactly. I'm just going to take a quick sip of water, and then I'm going to get into the next story. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed today that ERIK Bailly will leave United. So we know from Romano, Darwin Nunez will leave Benfica. We know from Romano, ERIK Bailly will leave Manchester United. It's sort of been reported that Bailly, Wan-Bissaka, Phil Jones, Dean Henderson have all been told that they will be leaving United, and that Alex Telles is not in Ten Hag's plan. However, we don't know if he'll be sold or not. It's also reported that Martial will leave Manchester United if he doesn't want to stay and be involved under Ten Hag, and Martial doesn't want to stay. And then we obviously know Mata, Matic, Pogba, Lingard and Cavani are all leaving United on a 3. So that is potentially 11 players out the door. Obviously, Pereira and Tuanzebe are coming back from loan, who will probably be out the door. So that's 13 players potentially out the door. And then you've got Ahmad and Donny coming back from loan that will be used. You've got Garner coming back from loan that will be used. And you've got Mejbri and Garnacho that are in Ten Hag's plans for next season. And then you've got Alvaro Fernandez, the young fullback, that's in Ten Hag's plans for next season. And I've read a report that it could potentially be Luke Shaw and then Alvaro Fernandez as his backup, because apparently Ten Hag is not a big admirer of Telles, and Delot and another right back. Man United want a right back and Delot to be the backup. Man United want to keep Shaw and have Alvaro Fernandez as the backup. Maguire will stay, a centre back will come in, Lindelof will stay, Varane will stay. It's also been reported, this is an interesting story, that De Gea has at least the start of next season to prove he can adapt his game to impress Ten Hag. And Sam Pildra says De Gea has a season to stay, but if he doesn't adapt his game this season, if he doesn't impress Ten Hag this season, then next season we'll even be looking at a goalkeeper. And obviously there's reports about De Gea getting a new contract and all of that, but I think, Ten Hag will probably take the foot off the brakes for that, because I think Ten Hag wants to see if De Gea can adapt his game. And Sam Pildra also said that the arrival of ERIK Ten Hag this week has created uncertainty within the Manchester United squad, with several players fearful about their positions. And we know that most of them are sort of in the defence, or most of them are ideally the troublemakers as well. There was a report that came out today from Pletigo There was a report that came out today from Pletigo saying that Nkunku wouldn't be sold, and RB Leipzig don't want to sell Nkunku, but we'll have to wait and see as well, because RB Leipzig are a selling club. This guy spoke about Nunez turning down United. That's not the case. That was from a A very reliable journalist has confirmed that Nunez would still be open to Newcastle and Manchester United, despite them not being in the Premier League. Nunez is world class. Signer before Liverpool. We need a finisher like him, still young. He's a brilliant finisher. He would need to adapt his game. He's not the finished product, Nunez. What I will say about Nunez, 50 million, Darwin Nunez, I will do, but I don't know if he's the finished product. He just lack a lot. Look, the problem is, look, Greenwood was our striker for the future. He's fucked it. He's not coming back. Martial don't want to be it. Cavani's pissed off, and we've only got a 37-year-old Ronaldo, and United desperately need a striker. And I think when you hear Osimhen 100 million, Kane 150 million, you know, it is about, is Nkunku one of the best options out there as well. Please do subscribe, guys, if you're new. Share the video, smash a like, and all of that as well. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates, and more, please do subscribe. Talking of outs, we've got Wan-Bissaka maybe joining Crystal Palace. We've got Dean Henderson maybe going to Newcastle. We've got Lingard maybe going to West Ham. Marcus Rashford, as obviously there's been reports saying Rashford's unhappy, bish, bash, bosh, all of that. James Ducker of the Telegraph said that Rashford now wants to stay at United and is expected to undergo some intense warm weather training in the US next month as he bids to hit the ground running under ERIK Ten Hag. But Bayern Munich will be keeping an eye on Rashford's situation. I tell you this about Marcus Rashford. Rashford is not leaving Manchester United. Rashford will not be allowed to leave Manchester United. If he has another poor season, he will probably leave next summer. Rashford's going nowhere. Rashford was annoyed he weren't playing under Rangnick, and Rashford's probably got his PR team to spin up some stories, make United panic he might leave, and try and tell Rangnick to play him. Something like that. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that Rashford looking elsewhere, Rashford wanting to leave, is Rashford's PR team hoping that presses Rangnick into starting him, because Rangnick would rather play Juan Mata and Elanga on the right wing than Marcus Rashford, because Rangnick did not like Marcus Rashford whatsoever, and Rashford was unhappy. Rashford's been miserable. You could tell. No offence to Marcus Rashford, but he was not listening to Rangnick's instructions. As soon as Rangnick gave Rashford a chance, he didn't even run, he didn't even track back. He was like, I'm not going to try. You don't pick me, you pick Elanga over me, so I'm not going to try. You know, Rashford and Rangnick very obviously didn't get along because he was never playing. But also, when Rashford was on the pitch, he didn't run. I remember we played Villa, he didn't chase up that second ball. Ronaldo was doing his tracking back versus Chelsea. Rashford didn't deserve to start under Rangnick. And, I think Rashford got maybe a little bit arrogant, maybe a little bit ahead of himself. And I think Rashford, he's a young player. He's 24. He was very good for us 2 seasons ago. I'm not going to let a bad season and a half forget how good Rashford is on his day and what his potential potentially is. But if I'm sitting here this time next year and Rashford's had another shit season, he needs to go. But I think you've got to give Rashford one more year. A lot of Man United fans are saying, sell McTominay, sell Bruno, sell Rashford. McTominay, Bruno, Rashford, Maguire, they've all had shit seasons, but we can't sell them when there's been shitter players. With McTominay, Maguire, and Bruno, they've been shit this season, but they've tried. There are players that have been shit this season, not tried, and caused dressing room issues. So at the moment, you were keeping the players that have had a poor season but haven't caused issues. And we're getting rid of the players that have had a poor season and caused issues. So if you've had a poor season but you're not causing dressing room issues, you're not disrupting the mood, you stay. If you have a poor season and you're disrupting the mood, you go. ERIK Bailly disrupting the mood, go. Wan-Bissaka disrupting the mood, go. That is the situation at United where a lot of fans saying sell Bruno, sell Rashford, sell Maguire, sell McTominay. We can't, because we can't sell the whole squad. We're only going to bring about 5 players in. We've already got 11 players that are leaving first. 11 players will probably leave. 10, 11 players will probably leave this summer. Next summer is if McTominay's poor for another season, you sell him. If Maguire's poor for another season, you sell him. If Rashford's poor for another season, you sell him. If Bruno's poor for another season, you sell him. But you don't sell them this summer. What we've got to do with them is, all right, Ten Hag needs to go to Rashford, Bruno, McTominay, Maguire and go, if you start playing poor, you'll be dropped. Okay? Harry Maguire will not be captain. Harry Maguire, if he starts playing poor, will be dropped under Ten Hag. Bruno Fernandes, if he starts playing poor, Donny will just take his place. Marcus Rashford, if he starts playing poor, he's not going to be in the team again. And Scott McTominay, if De Jong comes in, if another midfielder comes in, he'll probably become a bench player. And, I don't mind Scott McTominay for the bench. I don't want to see him starting week in, week out. I don't think he's good enough. Bruno, when in form, is a good player and one of the least of our issues. Maguire, when in form, isn't actually that bad. He was good for us last season. I think he should go long term. But with Bailly and Jones going, we'd only be left with Varane, who's always getting injured, and Lindelof. So you might need to keep Maguire because you're literally, if you don't have Maguire, you have Varane, Lindelof, and a new centre back. And that you need Maguire for depth. you know, and Rashford, young player, give him one more season if he's crap, sell him. Like, that's how I feel about the situation, but people will agree as well. Sancho, it's an easy rumour to spread, but not true. What's the Jadon Sancho rumour? I'm unsure. Someone spoke about Jadon Sancho rumour. And Rashford's the next Dele Alli. He could be. Rashford needs to get his act together. Save McTominay for the FA Cup and Carabao Cup. I agree. Baye shouldn't have signed that contract. My issue with these players is the lack of professionalism. You have no issues collecting a salary. Be professional. Work prepared. I agree. I don't know why Baye signed that contract. Baye just did it for the money as well. Oh, that. Sorry that you guys missed out on Kamara. I think Kamara to Aston Villa is a brilliant deal, and I'm really frustrating. It's really frustrating that we're going to miss out on him. Someone say I'm talking absolute shite. I'm not talking shite because I don't think Bruno, McTominay, Maguire, or Rashford have been anywhere near Man United standard this season. But when you've got players that have been nowhere near Man United standard this season and are causing issues in the dressing room, you need to get rid of those guys first. And you look at Bruno, he's more than capable of putting on the Man United shirt and performing. He did that for his first 18 months. Rashford is more than capable of putting on the Man United shirt and performing. He did that. Maguire's more than capable of doing that. And McTominay, I don't think he'll ever be good enough to start for United, but he's a bench player. The following summer, you look at De Gea, you look at McTominay, you look at Bruno, you look at Rashford, you go, if they've had a shit season at this time next year, then you sell them. But you've got to get your Wan-Bissakas, your Tellers, your Baye, your Jones out. You've got to get your Deadwood out. You've got to get the players that don't even get on the pitch anymore out the club before you get the players that do get on the pitch out. Talking of ins, and Nkunku, apparently Leipzig don't want to sell him. Pau Torres and Lisandro Martinez of Ajax are two players United are looking at, and apparently it could come down to who's the most cost effective. Martinez, JURRIEN, Timber, Pau Torres. Man United centre-back option could be who's the cheapest. Mark Ogden works with ESPN. He went on the United stand today and he said he thinks that Manchester United are keen to make a couple big signings this summer. James Ducker of the Telegraph said that Carbon Phillips has been of interest to Manchester United, but it's understood that he's aware of the tension between Leeds and United and will not want to betray Leeds fans because he's very loyal to Leeds. Mark Ogden also did say, I think what Manchester United have done since Ed Woodward has left is tighten the screws maybe a little bit and made it a bit quieter behind the scenes. If deals get done, they'll be done more quietly. This is Mark Ogden saying that United want to be a lot more quiet in terms of getting deals done. Scott has never been Man United standard. At least Rashford looked at it. Looked good for 1 point. Yeah, I agree. That's what I was trying to say. Rashford, Maguire and Bruno Fernandes have all had spells where they've looked all right, but I've never looked at Scott McTominay and gone, yeah, you're Man United standard. De Gea captain. I think captaincy should be given to Cristiano Ronaldo. And I think with the way Ten Hag speaks, I think captaincy will be given to Cristiano Ronaldo because Ten Hag spoke very, very positive of Cristiano Ronaldo publicly, saying he can't wait to work with him and all of that. And I think, Ronaldo, I think Ronaldo will be captain as well. Ten Hag, it's understood that new first team coach is set to join Ten Hag's staff because obviously right now Mike Phelan has just left Manchester United. That's been confirmed. Chris Armas, Ewan Sharp and Sasha Lens have also left Manchester United. So, the rebuild is beginning. And I can't remember which journalist said it, but there was a journalist that came out the other day and they basically said something along the lines of United are going to get their staff in and their staff sorted before they get their players sorted. And I can't 100% remember what the story was, but I think Manchester United want to get players in and out before they not players in and out. They want to get staff in and out before they get players in and out, maybe. I don't know. Again, it's conflicting reports because some journalists are saying, yeah, expect Man United's first signing to be their first week in June. Expect, by the end of June there to be 2 or 3 signings. And then some journalists are saying United are going to prioritise getting the right staff in before they get in the right signings. I think United are working on signings. We know from Laurie Whitwell, United had spoken to De Jong. United are trying to get a deal for De Jong done. We know there's an interest in Timber. We know there's an interest in Pau Torres. We know that we're looking at players. We know there's players that we've sort of written down to buy and sell. We know that basically Wan-Bissaka has been told to go, Baye has been told to go, Jones has been told to go, Tellers isn't wanted, Martial isn't wanted, Dean Henderson isn't wanted, Timber is wanted, De Jong is wanted. We have an idea of who we want to buy and sell, but it's about finding offers to sell them. Can we get rid of the ones we want to sell? And also, can we get the ones we want to buy? That is sort of the situation going on at Manchester United as well. Guys, please do smash that like button if you have not already. And of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates and more, please do subscribe to Alice Talks Football, because I will be live every single evening keeping you guys up to date on all the latest Manchester United news and updates. If we agree to sign a player, I'll be live. If we bid on a player, I'll be live. If we sign a player, I'll be live. If we're close to signing a player, I'll be live. Whenever there's an update on transfers, I do go live. So do subscribe, because if personal terms are agreed, there's a live stream. If there's a bid made, there's a live stream. If a deal's done, if we sell a player, if we're about to sign a player, I'll be live to keep you up to date on all the news. The news today is Nunez will leave Benfica and wants to move to the Premier League. The news today, again, is De Jong looks likely to leave Barcelona. And hopefully, we'll have some more news coming out about who we should buy. Alice, do you think Ahmad is ready for the right wing spot? Maybe a rotation option. I think what we've got to do is have Ahmad as your backup right winger. I think he's had impressive moments at Rangers. I think he looks like a player that could thrive under Ten Hag. He's very intelligent. I think for me, your left wing options is Sancho and Rashford, your backup for Sancho. Your right wings options are potentially Ahmad and someone else. Whoever that other right wing would be, we have to wait and see. We're going to have to play Donny out wide, Bruno out wide, because we don't sign anyone? Could it be Nkunku with Ahmad as backup? Could it be a Hakim Ziyech? But I think that Ahmad for me needs to be that second right winger. It needs to, the wingers I think need to be, I think the front three needs to be Sancho on the left, Ronaldo up top, and ideally a new right winger. I think that's what Manchester United need to do. But I also think Amad Diallo should be the backup, because I think he's a player that I could see looking good under Ten Hag. I think Diallo and Garnacho should be like the bench kind of wingers that come on. I think it's about integrating the youth, because if you look at Arsenal and you look at Arteta, Martinelli, Smith Rowe, Saka, all very, very young. And I'm at the point with, luckily Mata's gone. You got rid of Daniel James. I think, look at how Smith Rowe's kind of go boosh. Look at Martinelli. Look at Saka. Can we get one of those with Garnacho and Amad Diallo? Can they be our new right wingers? So yeah, I definitely think that Ahmad is someone that United need to include. I think he's been okay at Rangers. He's had good moments. He hasn't played much. I think it was the wrong loan move, but when he's on the ball, he looks quite good on the ball. As the camera's gone a little bit blurry, I do apologise. It's kind of frustrating me how blurry the camera has gone there as well. Alanga, striker, what do you think? No way, no way. As well, don't expect too much in the first 2 seasons. I agree. Look, we've got Pep Guardiola only got top 4 on goal difference in his first season. Jurgen Klopp only got 7th in his first season. For me, the Premier League's very competitive. Tottenham have announced today they're going to be spending 150 million, and they've got Conte, they've got Kane, they've got Son. City and Liverpool are going to strengthen. City have strengthened. They've already signed Haaland. Arsenal are going to strengthen. They've had a good season. They're going to get a midfielder in. They're going to get a striker in. They're young. They're all going to improve. Arsenal, Spurs all strengthening. You've got Newcastle strengthening. You've got Villa strengthening. People forget how competitive the Premier League is. We've got to get the right signings, because Arsenal are going to get better. Spurs are going to get better. Chelsea, City and Liverpool all get better, who finished above us. West Ham will probably buy some players and get better. Leicester have had an off season. They'll probably invest and get better. Villa are investing. They want to be up there. Newcastle as well. And it's the top 6, but with Newcastle, it's going to turn into the top 7. With Villa, if the way they're going, it could turn into the top 8. They've got a lot of money that, United, they need to invest, and they need to invest smartly, because it's very competitive, the Premier League. And if you look at the squad, I think this first season, as I've always said, this first season at Man United is getting rid of the deadwood and bringing in players. And I think it's not about finishing top 4. It's not about winning a trophy. I think that would be a bonus. I'd love that to happen this season. But this first season at Manchester United, for me, is pretty much like adapting to the style of play, getting rid of the biggest problems, changing the dressing room, changing the culture, changing the vibe. I think this first season isn't about trophies. It isn't about top 4. It's about changing the attitude of the players, changing the mentality of the dressing room, changing the style of play, changing the vibe. I think that for me is what it's about. It's not about let's do this, let's do that. If that makes sense with you guys as well. Make sure you smash that like button, guys. Also, please do subscribe if you're new. There are lots of good CDMs, but our problem is we don't have good quality scouts to discover them. I agree, we need scouts that can look abroad and are more wise when it comes to looking abroad. Ten Hag needs time to rebuild the Man United team and strengthen the positions you need to be strengthened. Absolutely spot on there as well. Is that linked to Enzo Fernandez from River Plate progressing? I think it's a quiet deal. United got thrown into a lot of Man United get thrown into a lot of deals. Our name gets thrown into a lot of rumours, and I don't know if we're in for Enzo Fernandez or not. We haven't had an Ornstein or Romano. really speak about it. So yeah. Donny was the cream of the Ajax squad and looked average in a relegation threatened Everton. Who is to say Timber is fair any better? I think it's about the manager though. It's about the style of play, and Donny and Timber can play Ten Hag style of play. And you've also got to remember Timber's 20. Timber's not even in his prime. 20 years of age for a defender as well. For a defender to be that good at 20, that is rare. Imagine, you've got to think how Timber can adapt, and I think value for money as well. I think it's not about buying the best possible player in that position. It's about buying a player that's going to suit Ten Hag's long-term plan. Can this centre-back, can this defender, can this midfielder, can this attacker play Ten Hag's style of football, play the way Ten Hag wants them to play? Can they get better? Are they the right attitude? Are they the right mindset for Man United? Are they going to improve? Have they got the winning mentality? Do they work hard? It's about ticking all those boxes. It's not like, oh, I'm going to get Koulibaly because he's a brilliant centre-back. It's actually, oh, I'm going to get Timber because I know he can play the way I want him to play. He's young. He can get better. I can develop him, but he's got a good attitude. Or be a step up. He's not coming for the money. He will listen to me. He will work hard. It's about ticking those boxes for me when you sign a new player at United as well. Chelsea selling Ziyech and ERIK Ten Hag wants him back. I haven't heard that rumour, but other people have been telling me that. Does anyone know what the Ziyech rumour is as well? Harry Maguire and Delot will cause our downfall. What I'm hoping with Maguire and Delot is Harry Maguire was very good for England. Okay, let's remember this. Harry Maguire it's been crap. Harry Maguire has been dreadful and cost us a lot of games, cost us the Champions League this season. He has. Delot's had some dreadful moments. But what I think a big problem of it is the coaching. Because even when we've had Varane and Lindelof at centre-back and Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw, we've conceded 3-4 goals as well. It doesn't matter who plays centre-back for Manchester United. We leak goals. We're poor defensively. It doesn't matter who plays. And I think there's two reasons behind it. Well, three. There's three reasons behind it. Some of our defenders aren't good enough. That's the obvious one. But the midfield. Our defence gets no protection whatsoever. Manchester United have the most open midfield in the Premier League. We're the easiest team to break down. You can just run right through us. Boof. So much space. It's so easy for teams to just run right through Man United. So much space because we don't have a good midfield. So if we improve the midfield, if you sign two midfielders, if you get Lema in and you get De Jong in, instantly, just by buying two better midfielders, your defence will be better next season because they're going to get a little bit more protection. The second thing is the coaching. The defensive coaching under Ollie was non-existent. The defensive coaching at Manchester United is very obvious. Rangnick actually came in, and when they were listening to Rangnick's instructions for his first 2 or 3 months in charge, we improved massively defensively. We saw that when they listened to his instructions, we improved. Then it all went downhill. They started ignoring Rangnick, and it fell to pieces. Get the right coaches in, get some better midfielders in, and the defence will automatically improve. Harry Maguire, I tell you this now, if we get 2 good midfielders in that protect the defence, and you get some good coaching and some good structure and playing some good football, Harry Maguire will have a better season. He is good for England. He was good for us last season. He's not a terrible centre-back. He's not a title-winning centre-back. He's not an amazing centre-back, and I think he's not good enough for United, and I think long-term he needs to go. But, we have to keep Maguire because we've got to sell Jones and Bailly. But I generally think improve the midfield, improve the coaching, there will be an improvement in the defence. Okay, I believe that as well. I think we do need a centre-back. I think we do need a right-back. But I think, the defence is made to look worse because of the lack of protection from midfield. And I will stand by that as well. I think Maguire should be dropped. I think that Maguire shouldn't be a week in, week out starter with the way he's playing. I don't think he should be captain. But I think if we get better midfielders and better coaches, Maguire will improve because at the end of the day, he is good for England. Even though the England play a bit of a 5-back, he is good. Delot will improve in ERIK Ten Hag's system. Maguire does not fit the start. I agree. I do think, though, if De Gea left United and we got some more... I don't want De Gea to leave. I do like De Gea, but what I'm saying is if De Gea left and we got a goalkeeper like Sanchez from Brighton or a more modern goalkeeper that, because Maguire struggles with a high line and it doesn't help that, De Gea is kind of glued to his line. So there's a lot of space between the defence and De Gea when we play a high line. Because when we played a high line with Maguire, Lindelof and Henderson, we looked a lot better than when we played a high line with Maguire, Lindelof and De Gea. Now, I'm not saying that is De Gea's fault. That could be coincidence. But I do think, again, Maguire, I think if you have a modern goalkeeper, could maybe do the high line under Ten Hag, but I think he will struggle. I just don't think Maguire and De Gea really complement each other. But that's not me saying get rid of De Gea and keep Maguire. I don't want people to think that. That's just me looking at it from a more fair perspective as well. I look sleepy today. I'm a little bit sleepy, but not overly sleepy. Richarlison, don't want him, not good enough. He's an okay player, don't want him. That's how I feel. I can see C8 leaving Chelsea. I'd like him at United as well. Man United need to move quickly on transfers this summer and not stall on deals like they did with Sancho. 100% agree with Daniel's comment there. Look, Kamara's gone, Tchouaméni's gone, Rice won't be able to get, Phillips won't be able to get, Basuma's got legal problems, Neves doesn't suit Ten Hag's style of play. That's 6 midfield options gone. So there's Lamar, Bayern Munich could swoop him up. There's Cooper Miners. You know, there's De Jong, but Man City could get him. You know, United need to act quick on midfielders because we could be sitting here in August going, we haven't signed a midfielder yet. Our number one priority midfield, we haven't signed one yet. You know, we could generally be sitting here in August panicking about that because United are just, you know, what they need to do is not waste the whole summer trying to convince De Jong to come, him to go to Man City. They need to literally go, okay, let's sign this player. Okay, let's sign this player. That's what United need to do. Kimmich or Basuma, very for me. Is Timber any good? When I've watched Timber play, he's looked good as well. And 84 likes, needed for 400 likes. Guys, can we hit 400 likes, by the way? Let me just take a quick sip of water. It'd be amazing if we can hit 400 likes on the video. So if you haven't hit that like button, please do hit that like button. And of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates and more, please do subscribe to Alice Talks Football for daily Manchester United news, updates and more. The minute there's a bid on a player, the minute personal terms are agreed, the minute a player joins, the minute we sell a player, I'll be live to update you guys. So if you do want to stay up to date, do subscribe. De Jong is going to stay, according to Romano. He will not move at all. I don't think Romano said that. I've been told that De Jong will probably, I've been told, well, not I've been told, I've read, sorry, why am I saying I've been told? I haven't been told from anyone, but I've read that De Jong will leave, and from the way De Jong's acting, it looks like he will leave as well. So I don't think De Jong is staying. I don't know, I'll check Romano's Twitter if he said anything recently about De Jong, but I don't think Romano has, to be honest. I don't think he has, as far as I'm aware, so I'm not sure where you've got that from. Romano said that De Jong doesn't want to leave Barcelona, but he said De Jong might have to. 350 likes, guys. Would you have Timber and Tomori? I like them both good young centre backs as well. Let me get into some more stories though. So we've got ERIK Ten Hag. We've got a bit of news coming out on ERIK Ten Hag here. So Ten Hag and Rangnick will have a soon meeting this week. Laurie Whitwell's confirmed this. Ten Hag and his team plan to work a few more days before taking a break. He will speak to his players when they report for pre-season. That's what Laurie Whitwell said. First class, Paul Hurst said, ERIK Ten Hag likes players to be sharp. The person familiar with Ten Hag's methods said the players will find the first few weeks of training unpleasant. Manchester United players, I will say this now, are in for a massive reality check under Ten Hag. Ten Hag is a very different style of football to what the Man United players are used to. It's very intense. The Man United players have had it too easy. They complain too much. The Man United players, a lot of them are going to struggle. I think Fred will be one of the only players that won't struggle under Ten Hag because Fred's unbelievably fit, if I'm going to be honest with you. Now, ERIK Ten Hag spoke again to the press today, and not the press, but just spoke again in general to, well, I guess you could say the press, journalists, and said that his project is to bring United back to the top. He said United belong in the Champions League. Ten Hag said he wants to win. Winning's the most important thing, but he has an intention to do that in a certain way, in an attacking way, saying again he wants to win, and he wants to win in an attacking way. Ten Hag was talking about what he demands on himself as a coach, and Ten Hag said a bright vision and hard work. And Ten Hag said that he thinks his former players can confirm that we play attacking football and that my players are convinced that this is the way to win games and titles. So Ten Hag confirming he's going to bring attacking football back to Old Trafford, which is what we like to see. ERIK Ten Hag said, I have to learn, I have to adjust, but I also have to stay myself. I'm convinced that we can bring in the structures and the way of play we want. And that's a really interesting quote from Ten Hag, because that's Ten Hag sort of saying, I'm hoping that I can play the way I want and bring in the structure to do that. That's almost Ten Hag's way of maybe suggesting that he's confident the board are going to give him the backing, the board's going to change their structure, so they're going to back him and buy in the players and coaches he wants to play the way he wants. Potentially, maybe that could be what he's hinting as well. He also said if we get that done and we communicate to the players the right way, we will get success. Ten Hag says we will give rules and principles, so we're bringing in structures. And Ten Hag spoke a lot about sort of the structure needed at United, bringing the structure, bringing rules, all work hard, everyone listens and communicates well, and that's how you bring success. Ten Hag said the silverware is very important for him. And it's very important for a club like United to get silverware as well, which makes sense. We've got the Daily Star saying ERIK Ten Hag wants to sign 2 world-class midfielders, a centre-back and a striker this summer, We've also got the Times saying ERIK Ten Hag has done his research on Manchester United traditions, which is based on open attacking football, and United has been his favourite English club. And we also got the Times saying one person who's familiar with Ten Hag's method said recently that the player would find the first few weeks of training nasty. That's good news for the fans that Ten Hag is determined to bring back some flair into the team. Again, this come out from the Times as well. Romano confirmed Paul Mitchell will not join United, and the Manchester Evening News confirmed that Ten Hag, Van der Gaard and McLaren travelled to Carrington for a formal meeting today and to do plans for pre-season. So, and brief. But that's some of the news. I just wanted to power through that because I would like 40 minutes into the live stream and I didn't even cover that. But that is some of the news there for you guys about Ten Hag, his plans and all of that. Someone's saying your screen is a blur. Well, I hope it's not blurry anymore. I'm nervous about the wing backs, says Ava. I'm nervous about the fullbacks at United next season. I will say we need midfield. Midfield is number one priority. I'm going to be honest. We need two midfielders. We need a centre back. We need a left back and a right back. We need a backup for sure, and we need a right back because Delo's not good enough. We also need a right winger and a striker, and we can't get them all. And I also think long term we'll need a goalie if De Gea can't adapt. So it's really going to take 2 summer transfer windows. But yeah. For me, I think we need to get a fullback, a centre-back, 2 midfielders and a striker. I think that's what we need to do. I think definitely. I think striker is going to be the most striker and midfield of the priorities. And as Andrew said, they're almost the most difficult to get on the market right now. According to Barcelona, according to news, Barca will look at Neves De Jong. Yeah, I read that, De Jong looks likely to leave Barcelona. They'll probably buy someone cheaper. And Jules Koundé and Pau Torres good at backup options if you don't get Timber. I agree. The problem is they're twice the price. Andrew said we practically need a whole new 11. It will take a few windows. Yeah, I think it will take at least 2 summers. I think really 3 summers because I think you could look at it this summer and say right back, centre back, 2 midfielders and a striker. The next summer you're looking at a right winger. You're looking at a backup left back. You're looking at a goalie. Then you're looking at a Ronaldo replacement. That's 4 players. And then the following summer you're going, well, who's weak? Is Bruno good enough? Oh, has Bruno been good? He's been bad. Can Bruno find his form? Can Rashford find his form as well? Ten Hag, he clearly came in with a smile and friendly. What I will say is, and United are probably loving the positive social media interactions, but Ten Hag's coming to United. He's and he's just being friendly, getting to know everyone. I really like Ten Hag, the way he's coming to United, been so friendly, chatty. He's trying to know the whole team, like his approach. He's not here sucking up to the media. He's not on social media. He's not about that. He's about, I want to do the best job. I want to have a good relationship with everyone at the club, not just the players. And I really like how, I'm seeing videos of Ten Hag walking around, shaking everyone's hands, even people that work in the shop. Like, he doesn't think he's above all of that and stuff. And I do really like Ten Hag's sort of positive attitude and energy to be here. And I will say that's been quite nice to watch. Alice, what do you think of Mbappe renewing his contract? You can't blame Mbappe. He's been offered the deal of a lifetime, but I think it's pathetic and ridiculous from PSG. I think to give a player that much power, I think PSG will absolutely regret it because the next big Mbappe that comes along that PSG want will demand that, and they're going to ruin the structure of their club long term. United, one of the problems we've had is we've given pretty average players such high wages that when we sign someone new, that's good. We're having to give them 500k a week, whereas Liverpool will be giving them 200k a week because they know at United we're willing to pay that much in wages. And now PSG have done that to Mbappe. What's Messi and Neymar going to think? I reckon that's going to cause player issues with Messi and Neymar. Ego. I think the amount of money they're giving Mbappe, the amount of power they're giving him. There's a lot of ego players at PSG. Poch couldn't cope with it. Messi and Neymar's ego, they're going to be annoyed. Is it going to cause player issues? Is it going to cause player power issues? Is it going to cause dressing room issues? Because I reckon that PSG dressing room is nowhere near as toxic as Man United's and nowhere near as bad. But imagine if PSG were in the Premier League and they didn't have a league that they could walk through every season and the going got tough at PSG and they lost a few games. I reckon they'd crumble a bit like United. Not quite to the level we have, but I think, they've got it easy in Ligue 1. We're on 400 likes, guys. Thanks everyone for hitting 400 likes. It does mean a lot. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. Make sure you share the video as well. Today's video, we were just getting through some of the transfer news. Fabrizio Romano confirmed Darwin Nunez will leave Benfica. That's what Romano's confirmed, and he's interested in the Premier League. I think that's a big story because now we know 100% from Romano, Darwin Nunez will not be at Benfica next season. Darwin Nunez will be on the move, whether it's Newcastle, whether it's United, whether it's Bayern, whether it's PSG, whether it's Atletico Madrid. Darwin Nunez is on the move. We've also been told, not from Romano, but other sources, that De Jong's departure from Barcelona looks imminent. De Jong likely to be on the move as well. We've got Timber's representatives in England, but the Timber stuff's gone quiet, which I'm going to see as a good thing. Because I think if the Timber stuff's gone quiet, it could all of a sudden go loud again. And obviously there's the Pau Torres story that's come out, and that's all the transfer news sort of at the moment. I sort of discussed it in today's video, and as I've said, I will be live tomorrow night, and if anything happens in the next week, like a bid's made, there's in the personal terms are agreed, a deal is done, we buy a player, we sell a player. If any big updates come out, then I'll do like a breaking news live stream, and then I'll do live streams every single evening to keep you guys up to date as well. I'm going to end the live stream in about 2 minutes. So what I am going to say is any last minute questions, please do get them in as well. Get Tchouaméni, he's gone to Real Madrid. That's basically almost a done deal. Tchouaméni to Real Madrid. Hopefully Ragnick tells Ten Hag to go for Lemar. I think with the lack of midfield options, I think Lemar, Cooper Miners and Paulinho are the players I'd be keeping an eye on, because basically no one else is available as well. Tchouaméni could come to the Prem after Madrid. A lot of players that go to Madrid stay at Madrid if they're good, and that's the thing. I realistically think we'll get Nunez, Timber, De Jong, Pau Torres, and maybe someone else. I think we'll get 2 of the 4 players you've named, but I don't know if we'll get all 4. News on De Jong is he's basically got to leave Barcelona, but City are also interested because Gundogan and Fernandinho are leaving. Is there any good CDM or fullback at Benfica? Nothing that rings to mind, but I haven't watched much of Benfica as well. If you want my honest opinion as well. Champions League for Europa next season. I think the race for top 4 is going to be competitive next season, and I actually think I would rather, if someone said to me, we finish second on the Ten Hag next season, but we don't win anything, or we finish 5th under Ten Hag next season and we win the Europa League, I'd say finish 5th and win the Europa League, because that way you win a trophy, but you're still in the same competition as you would for second. So I think for me, I'd love to win the Europa League. I'm not bothered about the Carabao Cup. I'm not bothered about the FA Cup, because United haven't won a trophy in so long. I'd love a Carabao and FA Cup. Ideally, an FA Cup. I think the Carabao Cup's a shit trophy, but we haven't won a trophy in so long that I would take any trophy at this rate. But I think Europa League would be brilliant in Ten Hag's first season. I don't think he'll do it. We always seem to bottle the Europa League, but I think we'll be the favourites up there with Arsenal, and hopefully we don't bottle it. But you just can't trust United, can you, at all? But guys, I am going to wrap up today's live stream, but I do want to say thank you very much to everybody who watched today's live stream. Thanks everyone for tuning in and all of that. Please do subscribe if you're new and you're not already subscribed. I will be back tomorrow night with some more transfer news updates. There might be a short video tomorrow lunchtime, and then there might be a live stream tomorrow night. So as I've said, if you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, and more, please do subscribe. Please do smash that like button. Share the video. See you next time. Bish, bash, bosh. Thanks for watching. Thanks everyone who's tuned in the live chat.